Hello everyone, welcome back to, I'm not even going to say what day it is, just in case it don't go on. And I also ain't going to say the time, mate.
No.
Leave them in suspense. I thought I'd get in early this morning and do a little service on the jet ski. Yes, I have a jet ski, toys all round. So I bought the ski in today, thought I'll change the plugs. Ordered the plugs from next door. They said they'll be in about 1:30. So I've just come to get them in. Bear in mind we're all organised to go out tonight on the estuary. And a plug sheared off.
A brand new one.
Brand new and cylinder number 2, mate. And I thought, do you know what, that's the end to my night. Cylinder head off job, innit?
At first you thought you pulled the thread out, didn't you?
I did. Just kept turning and I thought, I can't believe this. It's 22 degrees, tide's perfect, and we need to be out. So yeah, it's sheared off, mate. So bloody small, aren't they?
I wonder if it's because there ain't quite enough thread up to the top.
Well, there's a bloody...
there is a washer on
there
there,
is a washer on here, mate, but who knows, just fragile. Maybe I might just be too heavy-handed.
I don't know.
But good old trusty Easy Out, mate, was my only option without taking the head off.
John would not be happy about you using
He wouldn't be happy,
out.
mate, but that has done the job and it's saved my evening.
It has.
The only trouble is I've only done 2 cylinders. I had to use an old one, mate. But I've took the best of the bunch.
And a nice little 2/3 service.
Exactly. I'll order another one and try not to snap that one. Right, first of all, mate, this Cosworth and that Cosworth are well on the way, aren't they?
Yep, they are underway.
Have I got my mic on?
Yep.
We're both pretty much at the same stage, aren't we, here? We've plastic aged the mains.
Yes, yep.
What we got? About 2¼ thou?
Yeah, about 2 1/4.
Something like that,
there,
mate.
Sort of.
Thou per inch?
Yeah.
Absolutely bang on.
Well, the journal is 2.1 something, isn't it? So it's, you know,
that is right.
perfect, really.
But this one here, I've got all the 10 studs in now.
Yes.
These are the old style studs. And what I mean by that is the Julian Godfrey ones are like the 2 that we put in here. So we use 2 Julian Godfrey studs and they go in 5mm deeper. The only trouble is with these ones, if you try and use these, which are shorter, 5mm deeper, you run out of step to put the blue O-ring. So what I mean by that is, if I take this one, look, usually there's a 17mm step here that holds an O-ring, and that's the old style.
Okay.
And you see it leaves 5mm proud of the block if you use that method. Trouble is with that, is they don't go in deep enough. They probably only go in about 10, 12mm.
Yeah,
so
out
what
of
I'd,
all them threads, it's not really enough, is it?
No, so what I do is I turn these down.
Right.
Okay. Use the blue O-rings, which are these. These then go in 5mm deeper, and then you put the O-ring there over the top.
So are you essentially converting them to the new style, almost?
Sort of.
It's like a hybrid.
Well, basically we're just going in 5mm deeper, so we get an extra two threads really.
Yeah.
Which makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Well, it is worth doing, yeah.
But unfortunately, with these 2, the core plug ones, we need to go yet another 5mm.
So you need an extra long stud, basically.
So we need an extra long stud, mate.
Are.
Yeah. The outside 4 are different. They've got a 14mm O-ring step there.
Right.
But these are okay. They go in, you know, adequate depth. It's the centre 6 that need to go in slightly deeper, really, if you can.
Yeah.
So that's what we do, mate. But yeah, so rather than buy all the Julian Godfrey ones, they're 50 quid each, really, with the nuts and that. What I do is reuse these, perfectly adequate, and then rather than use the old style hex nuts,
which are a nightmare,
which you can't get a bloody socket on the top. So instead of these horrible nuts here, which are not horrible, but you just can't get a socket on them, mate, can you?
Yeah, they're too big.
Too big, and the old's too small.
Yes.
Never normally a problem. So we use these, which are the ARP style.
So we use
multi-spline. These nuts. I had to say, sorry.
God's sake. Children.
Yeah, so we use them, mate. Got the oil jets.
Yep.
Go in the base of the block. Done all the machining for that. Showed you that. Next step, mate, I'm going to be doing all 8 pistons. Your 4 and my 4.
Yep.
Because they're all the Marla standard original pistons.
Yeah. So is that cutouts and balancing?
Do the cutouts, balancing, and then we can crack on and proceed to build, mate. Do
Yeah.
the cylinder heads, and they're both done. That'd be lovely. 300 TDI, you're cracking on with that now because we have
Yes.
received
We have
the
now got
oil
'em.
pump gears,
Yes, which are in there,
which are there.
behind the plate, which you machined.
I
machined
did.
flat because it was a bit scored.
So you see these lugs, these are the gears inside here. See these lugs there sit on the two flats on the end of the crank, and
Yep.
the crank drives that gear, which drives the pump. So yeah,
Yeah.
this plate here I've surface ground on the inside. So
Yeah, so the only thing I had to do before I put it all back together was just put the plate on and check that these screws didn't bottom out and
that's
they're
right,
still
'cause the
clamped
plate
down.
is slightly well
Thinner,
faced
so
it.
yeah.
So it's good, mate. We can crack on with this. We've got the two Cozzies to plough on with, the V6, and it's all go. And it does look like we are almost at the end of the warranties, mate,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it does. It's looking that way.
So lately, we have had 3 warranties,
Yeah.
which sounds bad, but to be honest with you, we've done a lot of engines over the year. This time of year, especially when the nice weather comes out, people are completing their projects, getting the engines in that we built, and if any problems are going to arise,
Yeah, well, this is the thing. They're all sort of niggly issues, but they are warranty jobs nonetheless.
they are
so-
warranty jobs, mate. And it's like we've said, it's the way we deal with these things.
Yeah, and a lot of the
It's
time,
very important.
It's not like they're coming back with catastrophic failure. It's well, like for instance, this Mini,
The Mini,
a sticky relief valve potentially, or something wrong
potentially,
with
yeah.
oil pressure.
So the first one was a biggie. That was a Morris
12.4.
12.4, and that was suspected. It was oil burning issues, suspected piston, maybe valve guides. It's a side valve engine, but if many of you are familiar with that 12.4 engine, it's a distinct sort of classic engine where it's a simple enough engine in design, but quite complex in its
and finicky and a bit
in
of
its like assembly, isn't it?
yeah, it's one of those where you think you know how it goes together,
Yeah.
but you put one part in or together
There's
or
a
whatever.
specific order, isn't there?
Yeah, and
to
then
things?
you go to put say the cam in, you go, oh, for whatever reason the cam had to go in before the crank. I mean that's not
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
the
an
problem with
example.
them. You need
but
to
it's
know
that kind of thing. It's
the
like some
routine.
yeah.
So there was a suspected piston issue. We used the JP pistons, which some people don't mind, some people don't like. But it turns out that the ring layout and the piston design is not great, and apparently, turns out, they're not really that good for that head.
No.
So we managed to get some original items. We linered the block back to standard. The pistons have got a nice big chamfer on the crown, whereas the JPs don't. And the reason for that chamfer, we think, is because there's no combustion chamber in the head, so the gases need to travel round the chamfer into
Yeah, so
the valve area.
there is a bit of a combustion chamber, but it's on the valve side, being
Yeah.
a flat head engine.
Yeah,
So it sort of needs to push and direct all the gases to that combustion chamber on
That's
where the
right, yeah.
valves are. So it's a bit, you need that channel around the top of the piston to push the gases
You do.
towards the valves.
It was suffering with head gasket issues as well, but we think that's obviously down to that.
yeah.
So yeah, we put pistons in, we put liners in, we have put inserts in the whole head, so the thing is good for unleaded.
And done the valve guides as well.
Done the valve
new
guides anyway, just tighten those up a bit, and so far, fingers crossed, no news is good news.
Yep.
The owner is a very nice man, he's been very patient.
He has.
But we have done that, and hopefully he's happy. The second one was the MGB V8 that's been restored.
Yeah.
Beautiful car.
Oh, it's a lovely car. Very
Simple
nicely
enough,
done.
Simple enough motor, 3.5 V8 Rover. Absolutely love them. Very simple. But again, I think that one was down to parts quality, maybe.
Potentially.
Don't go out our way to fit cheap, nasty parts, but these
No.
days you never know where they're made and what they're made from and how they're made. And it turns out that both gaskets, both sides, were weeping to the outside of the block.
Yeah, so they were a steel shim gasket, weren't they?
Steel shim gasket.
Yeah.
So we've changed them, mate, changed the manufacturer, and so far, again, all seems to be well.
Yeah, no weeps now, so that's all good.
And then this one.
Yeah,
So this beautiful little Mini that's been restored is a late 1300 that we built just over a year ago.
yep.
Very slightly out of warranty, if you like.
Wow.
But the customer's only just finished it and got it done. And this is a strange one, mate. We have got Ross from...
Thomas Classic and Modern.
You have indeed. We've got him on FaceTime and he's been very helpful.
He has big help.
Plenty of time out. And although he specialises in minis and done hundreds and hundreds, I expect, this was a new one to him.
Yeah.
So usually with an engine, on first fire up, if you're going to have a problem with oil pressure, it'll either be no oil pressure or not enough oil pressure.
Yeah.
This one was off the scale, mate,
Yeah.
and climbing. So it was infinite oil pressure.
Which you can see in the last video.
See in the last video, we had a few people comment saying, why didn't you complete the live warranty diagnosis? It's because we didn't complete it. So that's why we're doing it now.
Out of time.
We were also waiting for bits. So we've checked everything we can. We checked the flow from the oil pump. We've took off the oil filter housing. We've took off the oil cooler pipes and checked the flow from the oil pump. All's good. It's going everywhere in the engine, so there's no restrictions, no blockages. We took the relief valve out,
so
and
down there.
with the relief valve out, there was no pressure at all. So we knew that it was flowing back into the sump. So we come to the conclusion it was an oil pressure relief valve issue, mate. So we've inspected everything. Nothing seems to be untoward. We did what Ross said, cut a coil at a time off the spring
to see
if it drops the oil pressure, but that didn't. All it happened was initially it went up slower and then it went off the scale again. So the only other thing, mate, was we just assumed that it didn't like, for some reason, the shuttle type.
Yeah, so there's two types, isn't there?
Two types, and we've got them here, mate, 'cause we ordered them from Mini Spares. So this dumbbell type thing is the insert that sits in the back of the block that the relief shuttle or ball sits against.
Yeah.
And this is a shuttle type. So the spring sits in the back of there and that shuttle sits against that dumbbell. And the pressure is what pushes that. But this is, this is a shuttle one, but the ball type is the same as that, but just a ball bearing.
Yeah.
So what we've done, mate, today is we've crossed our fingers, crossed our toes, and sweated profusely. One, because of nerves, and two, because of the heat. We put the ball in there and turned it over without the plugs. Very kind of people to suggest taking the plugs out, so it turns over easy, which we did. Put, obviously, new gasket on the oil filter housing, turned it over, and we got about 100 psi, which wasn't off the gauge.
No.
Up about 7 bar, which looked promising.
Yes, it did, considering before it wanted to just carry on.
Yeah.
Go, right round, right past 120.
Exactly. So. Ross said with a good oil pump, well, on a fresh motor, sometimes he has to take a couple of coils off the spring.
Yeah.
So I took 2 coils off. Should we just fire it up? And
yeah.
We've got to fiddle around with the distributor, so it's not running at its optimum. If we just have a little look at the gauge.
Battery's dead.
Wonderful.
We'll get the jumper going.
Climbing up at a nice rate considering the RPM. And we're up at...
Right.
So with the engine, the revs picked up, we're at about 6 bar now, 85 psi. So probably, see it runs nice and smooth, so probably I would say another coil off there, mate.
You reckon?
Yeah, with the ball type, they do say that it runs more
bit
oil
more
pressure.
Yeah.
So we might have to take another one off there, and we want to be running about 75.
What was that up to?
That went up to like 85.
Okay.
So it looks like we've solved it, mate.
Yeah, the main thing now is that we are getting a consistent reading on that gauge that isn't flying off, and you can see that it's regulating the oil pressure.
Yeah, the spring that come with the ball was slightly longer than the one that come with the shuttle, and it's distinctly more pressure because to put in the plug was harder.
Yeah.
So I suspect with another coil, if there's any sort of mini specialists out there, let us know whether that's what you've had to do before, and whether that looks right with a couple of coils off the spring. But I'm happy with that, mate.
Yeah.
That's sort of saved us an engine strip down.
Yeah, at least we can be sure now that it's an oil pressure relief valve issue. So, yeah.
So there we go. 3 warranty jobs in the last month or so, all solved, hopefully, and fingers crossed we don't see them back, and we can get on with some paid work.
Yeah.
All good, mate. It's the way you deal with it, isn't it?
It
Someone
is.
come in this morning and he said, which I've never really thought about, to be honest, he said, if you do a good job for someone, they'll go away and tell 5 people. If you do a bad job, they'll go away and tell 25 people.
Yep.
So,
That's it.
yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. And the way I see it is, if you have a warranty come back,
Yeah.
all you're doing is finishing the job. If you leave it unfinished, then it's unfinished, isn't
Yeah.
it? Whereas if they come back with a warranty, it's just an extension of the job. You've got to do a little bit more work, and
Yeah,
it's
you've
not
gotta-
ideal, but it's still part of the same job. It's not a
Yeah.
separate.
And things
thing.
like that, really, we account for in the hourly rate, don't we? That
Well, yeah, it's
potentially, there's going to be comebacks. It's got to pay for, but it's, you've got to be there, available on the phone. People have spent a lot of money, and
Well,
it's like you say, it's all part of the build process a lot of the time. Unfortunately, we do a lot of work, and the people out there that say they don't have any comebacks are
It's not like everything comes
lying.
back. It's just it's always only some sort of little niggly issue.
Yeah.
We don't have engines blowing the heads off or
No, it's
rods
little
out the
niggly
side.
things, but there's a lot of components, a lot of gaskets and seals and stuff.
You're relying on a lot of like
and
say,
also with the
parts.
classic stuff, these days you're trying to seal it and make them better than they were originally.
I know.
And people are expecting them to be, so it's very difficult.
It is hard.
Everything's great in here at the minute, mate. The only one thing that is very annoying at the moment is these white things that are coming off the trees.
I know.
Infuriating.
Should probably close the door, shouldn't we?
Should close the door, mate, but it's about 150 degrees in here.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
don't
we
want
need
them in
some
the
air
engine, so
con.
we're going to have a little think about that.
Yeah.
But it's 5 to 5. We're going home. I'm going out on the ski.
Nice.
Have a nice evening. Cheers, guys.